feature and then the strong winds. We have a lot of things going on. So again, it's one of those things you just want to be extremely careful right now. There is no one specific area that is exactly as detailed with a normal tornado warning signature, but this is very strong damaging winds again across the eastern side of the city at this hour. Most of the tornado warning for the central and western Tulsa area is out. And so we're more concerned with this big circulation along the leading edge right now. And as we look right along from...
go up towards Houston?
Hang on one second, Bob. Yeah. Go ahead, Alan. You can go ahead and talk to him on that. But the circulation feature right now is mainly this larger area right in here. But what we're seeing at this point is right along this leading edge. And Stephen, if you could, we'll take it right along the areas that are coming into Shoto now. Because if you have cell phones that went off and you have our app, you'll have heard that going off. And so right now it's very broad. Hardly will we ever see this from the National Weather Service issuing a tornado warning as wide. But a few circulation features. Let's come back in around Shoto as close as we can, and let's go right along this leading edge for a minute. If you are right along the leading edge, which is now east of Inola, just west of Shoto, there is a little bit of a circulation feature just west on 412 at this moment. And then as we go down along this line, you can see that this is pretty much a steady state of a solid line, but this is going to be strong damaging winds, 70, maybe up to 80 miles per hour in your areas. And as you look down toward the Muskogee area right now, we're seeing the same thing. And we can right here around the Chieftain Summit area. Vaughn is in this location as well. We got to find Vaughn in just a minute. But Vaughn, where are you? If you could give us an update from your area. This is on the west southwest sides of Muskogee, and a little bit of a circulation feature right in there. What do you have?
Extremely heavy rain. Winds are probably at 60 to 70, Travis. So I haven't seen any power flashes in the last couple of minutes, which is a good thing. But Muskogee's is in line for this. So everybody in Muskogee can cover. And I'll be back up on top of you. I'm just now coming.
All right. Yep, thanks. Okay, so again, this is the line 2 going all the way into Muskogee right now. And right in here from Summit, Chieftain area, and just west of Braggs, this is going to be a circulation feature here. We're going to be watching for the potential for tornado, if not wind damage along this whole line. Back into the Tulsa area, similar stories going on. Again, the red polygons are the tornado warnings. Unfortunately, we know that too well in Oklahoma. The yellow indicates severe thunderstorm warnings. And then right into the Tulsa area at this time, you do see that with the circulation feature still showing up just on the north and east sides. This has moved through the Owasso area now, and so that circulation is extremely strong in here. National Weather Service just issuing another severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to take over probably everything along this line, and then we'll start looking at individual areas where the circulation is the strongest. But strong damaging winds here on the north side. Now, and I'll be coming to you in a minute with an update, and maybe you can get us a storm track. But yeah, if you could zoom in a little bit right in that area. And what we see right now with this is there's pivoting around, and so with the strong damaging winds, there's probably 70, 80 mile an hour wind potential near Collinsville right now. So you could get some power outages here as well. So that pivot point right in here is what we're watching very closely as that moves toward Oologah. So this is one of the areas with strong damaging winds right along that leading edge. And again, this is kind of the whole pivoting area, which is causing more wind damage here. As you look at what the tornado warning has for us, if you're on the east side, right now, central and eastern Rogers County, and then that extends on the extreme eastern side of Tulsa. You can see where John is located right now. He's just sitting to the west of Catoosa, and we'll talk to him in a second. But any place along the leading edge, then also this circulation feature that's going on and pushing all the way to the north. You can see that line going and what we're doing right now with that strong line. Alan, it is a pretty impressive storm at this particular moment. What do you have for us?
Yeah, well, that's a big line of thunderstorm activity, and again, those winds are of concern. So I'll kind of reiterate what you just mentioned about that very large severe thunderstorm warning now that's been issued. I'm going to take it off velocity and put it back to you can see what normally you look at here. So this is going to include places like all the way to near Tahlequah now. So basically from Rogers County eastward, part of Craig County, all the way down to the Cherokee County area, includes Muskogee. You heard Vaughn talking about that. So this is a big severe thunderstorm warning that is going to be going on now for quite some time. I think it's going to be going on until it looks like maybe the 5:30 time period. The potential of this thing is moving. Travis, this thing could be moving between 60 to maybe 80 miles an hour.
It is just hauling down, especially on the south side there.
Yeah.
And
when that happens, a lot of times you just get that momentum, that forward momentum of that speed, that you can get those types of winds. So, we want to prepare you here for some wind issues. Not only, could we have a little spin up here, and look at that big, honking tornado warning, because those are like tornado winds, basically, all in that general area. So that's a tornado warning that's underway. Let me hit that polygon so folks can kind of see it there.
Yeah, and one thing too, Alan, what we want to do is make sure that you guys down in Muskogee, that is a concerning area. So if you are in the Muskogee area, we do want you, especially on the south, from Muskogee south, that is a strong circulation feature right in there down to Chieftain, and so there's going to be some strong. It's indentation right there.
Yeah, right there. Look.
This is what we're really looking at right now. So this is a very strong indication that there's going to be some damaging winds, if not a tornado in here. So if you're around east of Summit, southeastern Muskogee County, and then extending to Braggs, any place from Fort Gibson, Braggs area, and Alan, I'll let you do a storm track on this if you would, so folks can kind of see what's going on with this particular, right in this zone here. What do you have?
Okay, we're just going to track this entire area, just that short area that you just mentioned, and I'm going to take it at an incredible forward speed here. I'm going to take it at about 60 miles an hour, and it could be moving even faster than that. So these are like short-term tracks right now. It's 440. I mean, it's moving that fast. It's going to be at Paradise Hill in about 5 minutes. Qualls at about 4:52. Blackham would be right before the 5 o'clock hour, and it's just going to continue to track pretty fast. Since it is moving so quickly, I'm going to extend that track. Lake Tenkiller would be at 4:54. Marble City at 5:02. And notice again, that's basically where the edge of that severe thunderstorm polygon is located. I mean, those things are moving fast right now and have the potential for some wind damage. So we've got a large tornado warning that basically is for tornado-like winds, and there's several circulations that are trying to develop. And then ahead of it, we've got the potential for 60 and 70 mile per hour straight line winds. So we're watching that circulation, and Vaughn is now pretty close to it. It's moving so fast, it's just a little ahead of you now. So it's going to be in the Muskogee area. See how fast that jumped there? We'll check with Vaughn in just a second. That's moving east. There's another area that we're watching here, basically from just south of Nowata. Nowata's not in any, well, yeah, it is. Nowata's in that severe thunderstorm polygon near Bartlesville South. See how that's kind of trying to wrap around in that little area right there, just to the north of Claremore. That little kink right in there. We see that bow, we see that little bookend type area there. That's an area that we need to watch as well.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back into Tulsa County for a minute. John and Bob are both in this area. And John, if you would, give us an update. What is it like on the east side of town now, because the central Tulsa warning, tornado warning is going away. We still have the eastern side, Tulsa County. What do you have for us? Johnny, you there? John?
Yeah, he's there. I don't know.
Maybe he can't hear.
He may not hear us.
All right, it's Bob. Yeah, that's
we show Bob is here. Let's try Bob.
Bob, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
Okay, can you give us an update now? It looks like the winds have come down from where you are on the east side of town.
Yeah, they're down probably quite a bit. I'm getting me 35 mile an hour gusts of 40 right now. I'm about 2 miles from the Coweta Highway 51 exit on the Muskogee Turnpike. You can see where there's been items blowing across the turnpike, but right now it's just buffeting winds. Back to you, Travis.
All right. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. All right. So, again, that's the east side of town. You're taking a look at what's going on right now. Again, some strong winds have pretty much exited the Tulsa area compared to what it was. So we're kind of coming down off of a pretty nasty storm now. If you're on the east side of town, from Coweta and extending back further to the east along this leading edge. This is what we're most concerned with. Now, the National Weather Service has gone from a large tornado warning to a severe thunderstorm warning. We have a couple cells that are forming in front of that line, so there is a chance of a few merging things that could cause some issues. This is arcing very quickly, and you can see the end of the rain is now in the western portions of Creek County. So this whole circulation feature is just getting pushed back on up to the east-northeast. If you're along the leading edge, you do have to be advised, though, that any place along the leading edge is going to have strong damaging winds, and a circulation feature can show up almost any place along this leading edge. And if we could, let's zoom in and start up just around Nowata County and there, and take a look at what's going on. So with the circulation and the strong winds here, anywhere from southern Nowata County and then extending back into eastern portions of Washington County, we have the strong winds continuing in this area. And this will continue as you go along this line, and we're looking at velocity data. So what we're looking for right now is little things like what's at Foyle and Bushy Head. So there's some strong gusty winds there. At Oologah, we have the strong changing of the winds going on right in here with strong damaging winds, probably in 60, 70 miles an hour, could be even higher, which would lead to some power outages. And as well, we're going to be watching for this just to make sure nothing happens in here. And Alan, you can keep an eye on that for us for a moment. We continue to look at the line of thunderstorms already having pushed now, not only from Rogers, but into central Mays County, already through Pryor. And you can see that arcing again right along the leading edge, anywhere from just southeast of Pryor and the industrial complex around Sportsman's Acres now coming up on it. And then right any place on here, and it's just like there could be a really strong low, quick circulation. Winds could pick up to 60, 70 miles an hour or higher right along there. And then the one that's down here by Muskogee at this particular moment continues to be of concern. That has moved to the east of Muskogee now. Now it's over the Braggs area between Fort Gibson and Braggs, moving northeast. So that is still an area of concern. So if you're right in that zone on the east side of town, we want you to be very, very much aware of what's going on with that as that continues to track to the east. And then strong damaging winds are along that line, probably down close to I-40 before it starts to weaken, and it's not quite the same as you get down on the southeastern arc of that area. So that's what's going on right now. The severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect again for areas that are primarily to the east of this line. The tornado warning was given a very long range because it's continued to move with that line of storms. So we want you to be advised for that. And Alan, what do you have for us?
Yeah, we'll pull up 3 on the radar. We'll take a look. I've tracked that entire area there, and we're going to move that east at about 60 miles an hour. So all of those communities that are listed on the side of the screen have the potential for some damaging winds here. Now, that's the severe thunderstorm polygon region. Technically, there still is a tornado warning that's underway for another 14 minutes because along that line, there could be these little spin-offs that continue on. But just prepare for the potential for some 70, maybe 75, 80 mile per hour wind gust, and treat this entire line like you would a tornado warning. Take shelter away from it, away from walls and windows, innermost interior of your home. You can see the computer algorithms have just upgraded on updated those estimated times of arrival there. So Iron Post at about 4:48. Now I call this like the short term. Right now for the next couple of minutes, if we expand this and take it a little bit more to the east, we're at 4:46 right now. Tahlequah would be about 9 minutes from now.
All right, hey, I'm going to interrupt you only for 1 second here, just because let's go back down to Muskogee and let's talk to Vaughn for a second, and let's zoom in on that area. It's getting worse down here. I want to get in close on here if we can. Hey, quick update, Vaughn. I don't know what you're seeing, but it's starting to look concerning just off to your east. Is there anything you can see? I know you're not in a place to be able to see very well, but this is a concerned area on the east side of town now. This is the one we've been watching between Fort Gibson and extending down to Braggs. This looks like a tornado. What do you have for us?
Yeah, so I'm on the Muskogee Turnpike, just off of Peak Boulevard. I have not seen any kind of power flashes all the way down Peak Boulevard to the east. I have not seen any kind of power flash. Getting ready to get and go towards Gibson here momentarily. So as soon as I get across the bridge, across the river, I'll have a better look at it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, that should be something going on pretty big right now, right in this zone. So we want to make sure that we cover this. We're going to do a storm track. Allie, if you would give us a storm track off this core right in here, so we're down to city streets and kind of look at where this thing is going to go. Because again, if you're in this area, this is concerning, and this is going to be some serious wind and shear going on right in here. And so that's what we're thinking is happening. What do you have there for us?
Okay, so right now it's just a hair south of Fort Gibson, just a mile or two northwest of Braggs. Moving east, I'm going to take it pretty fast here at almost 60 miles an hour. Lake Tenkiller right after 5 o'clock. Pettit Bay, 5:05. Cookson, 5:07. Wildcat Point, 5:07. So again, if you're right in this general area, you can see, what is that, Highway 10 east East River Road to the south of the River Road, and right along 10 East on Highway 10. There's the little area of Sicily, if you know where that's at, and then also the airport, Davisfield Road, which is that road right there to the south. So Vaughn is looking at it. If he sees any kind of power flashes, he's going to definitely let us know. But that is an area that, as Travis has indicated, there's trying to wrap up a little bit. It's trying to show that signal, that sign that it could be potentially trying to produce maybe a quick tornado spin up. But again, this also is included already in a severe thunderstorm warning. So you need to take your precautions regardless here. All of that polygon shaded area. There's other thunderstorms down to the south. That line is moving through McAllister. It's not severe. So Pittsburgh County, this is the reason why we're not showing you that right now is because our main concern is on this kind of bookend part of the line from Muskogee to the north. Does include, oh, by the way, I just saw sirens are sounding or have sounded in the Pryor area and the Shoto area, of course, because of this line of storm activity that's pushing through.
All right, so again, we continue along the leading edge of this severe weather outbreak. We were expecting severe storms, but this we had tornadoes down in Oklahoma City, down around the Norman area, and then this storm has continued to push to the east. This is the first wave of several that are going to come through, but if you're waking up this morning and you're wondering what's happening, this area is still of deep concern for us. Any place along the leading edge, especially from I-40 to the north. A little bit more of the dynamics are showing up in this area as this system is picking up and pulling to the northeast. As it does so, we've had this wide tornado warning. Again, you don't usually see that very often, and we're looking at the arc, and you can see some of the shear associated with this along this entire line. Anytime we have a little bit of an S shape right in here, there's a higher risk of a tornado in those areas. So again, east of Muskogee, Vaughn's going to be traveling just east there, and he'll have an update for us from there. Hey, Bob, update from you on 51. What do you have for us as far as what's going on? I guess we got to get your mic on. Maybe it is. Bob, if you're there, go ahead, give us an update.
Yeah, Travis, I'm going to be heading in towards Wagner. The line's already passing through there. I'm still getting probably 40-mile-an-hour gusts, 30, 45-mile-an-hour gusts behind this line. You know, we were talking about the quick spin-ups. I had one in Tulsa pass over me about 40 yards wide. And I think some of what we're seeing is similar to that we're catching the power flashes on. Back to you, Travis.
All right. Hey, thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. So once again, that line of storms continues to track off to the east. And so overall, the big picture on radar at this particular moment showing that we still have that tornado warning isn't over with as of yet. And then the leading edge now is for mainly to the east. Tulsa area we've cleared out. So again, Tulsa area is cleared out. It's still raining and thunder and lightning and occasional lightning strike with some thunder that will probably just send you to the ceiling fan. But it is one of those where we are looking for the potential, again, mainly just to the east. Vaughn, I know you're kind of in, it's going to be hard for you to be able to see a whole lot, but can you give me an update? Have you seen any power flashes, anything at all?
Actually, I've got a pretty good view now. I'm on 62, just a few miles east or west of Fort Gibson. No power flashes to my south. Highway 10, I'm just coming up on Highway 10 to go to Bragg. That is not a very good road, so I'm going to continue east on 62. And I'll continue to monitor to the south of me, Travis. Back to you.
All right. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. So again, if you're around Fort Gibson and just areas to Bragg, so we're still looking at that. That'll be headed towards Zeb and probably Park Hill here shortly. So again, that circulation feature is noteworthy. And unfortunately, we've had a history of some pretty nasty things. And Stephen, I don't know, did you have very many reports that came out of Norman? What happened down there as well?
Well, I do know, and again, this goes back to a few hours ago, early this morning, and these were storms that were out ahead of the squall line in the 1 a.m., 1:30-ish time frame in the Oklahoma City metro, north of Norman, near Tinker Air Force Base. They had a tornado spin up that damaged the neighborhood there, and then they had a couple more that developed kind of on northeastern sides of the metro, and we're going to be seeing a lot more from that kind of as the sun comes up. We'll be seeing a lot of damage reports out of there, and those were storms that were ahead of this main squall line, and then as the squall line kind of overtook it, it went from those supercell type storms that they were having to this what we call kind of spin up threat. There's the entire line there. If you just want to kind of see, as Alan's been mentioning, it is just taking off from a speed standpoint. That's the leading edge, but again, there are some strong winds on the backside of that. But Tahlequah, here in a few minutes, Grand Lake a little after 5 a.m., and then all the way down to Tallahena and Fort Smith. I mean, within the next 30 to 35 minutes, this thing is starting to hightail it towards the Arkansas state line. At least that means it gets out of here quickly, but Alan mentioned this, the forward speed that it's taking usually will lend itself to wind damage.
And we're changing over from a tornado warning to a severe thunderstorm warning now. That's a new one. That'll be for Craig, Ottawa, and extending on over into portions of Mays, and then Delaware and into Cherokee and Adair counties. So if you are in these areas, we're going to strong to severe wind and also some hail. We really haven't had much hail associated with this line of storms, as much as what sometimes you would expect. It's mainly a wind and heavy rain event with circulation features along it. We're still right in the areas around Muskogee. You can see this indentation here. And so Vaughn is literally driving into this location. These are the things that we watch for, because this is where we have flow coming in, coming up back and around, and that's what creates the circulation feature. So this is probably the most pronounced one we're watching right now as that goes across the area. And as that tracks, we're looking at, again, moving so quickly. If you are in these areas, we do want you to be very much aware of what's happening. The whole line is going to be causing some issues and probably make you think twice, especially if you're just standing there and looking at it as it comes on in. So make sure you're kind of staying away from outside windows and walls to make sure that you're in a safe place, and then this will move on through. It'll move through rapidly, and then once we see that, then we're going to be able to see as well with this line. This should start to weaken a little bit, but any place like this is concerning. So again, if you are in these locations and you see your town mentioned here on the left side of the screen, that's a sign that it's going to head in your direction. So a severe thunderstorm warning will be in effect. So even if there is not a tornado, there is a chance of strong damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Al?
Okay, on 3, this is going to be the big track. That now is going to be transitioning into that severe thunderstorm warning. But we still watch, as Travis mentioned, we still watch for those little spin-ups that could occur. So this is moving east now at about 60 miles per hour. All of those areas, you see those little, look like ping pong balls, those are communities that will be in the track. So I'll read some of them. Pensacola, I mean, it's moving in pretty fast here.
Hey, Al, real quick too, 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts at Adair. 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts there. So that proves that whole line is still very dangerous.
Yeah, that is. My goodness, 80 miles per hour. 3 miles south of Adair was just reported by the emergency manager there in the Mays County vicinity. So yeah, you got to take this line of thunderstorm activity seriously. Treat it like you would a tornado warning and stay away from the walls and the windows. So the short-term track has those communities on the screen. I'll extend this a little bit more. So Tahlequah at 4:59, Spavinaw Lake at 5:02, Marble City would be at 5:07. We continue to move on. Grand Lake at 5:09. I mean, it's moving so fast. My goodness. Jay and Grove would be at about 5:10, 5:15. Now there's some showers south of you, Jay and Grove, that will probably move in before the main line gets there. But if you're watching right now along that line, or maybe if you're behind the line and you have friends and neighbors that are ahead of it, you might want to call them and wake them up. Yeah, it's time change week, and everybody just thought we were going to get an extra hour of sleep out of this deal. But that big line is pushing through. And by the way, Travis, we are getting reports from News 9, our sister station. Northbound I-35 is down to 1 lane because of heavy rainfall and flooding in the Oklahoma City area. But there's been a damaged home southwest of Tinker Air Force Base. Some damage reported in the city, Oklahoma City. Southeast 81st Sooner Road. A couple of homes have been damaged also near Southeast 89th Street and South Bryant Street. And that was just reporting in the metro itself. As Stephen mentioned, there were some other tornado warnings earlier this morning to the south and southwest of Oklahoma City. Severe thunderstorm warnings now continue for a pretty big chunk of real estate. So I'm going to read off some of your counties that are being included in here. We'll zoom in and kind of take a look. If you're ahead of that line, you need to remain aware. There could be 60, 70, 80 mile per hour winds. Adair, Cherokee, Craig, Delaware, Mays County, Muskogee. Nowata is technically still included on the top side of that. Sequoia, all of those areas just ahead of it. Prepare for this line. It's moving pretty fast.
Okay, that's going until 5:30, or it'll continue till whenever at the rate it's going. But they are moving fast, Al. All right, let's go back down into the areas around Muskogee, east of Muskogee, and it's coming in on Tahlequah right now. And so what we see along the leading edge at this point is there's still concern right in here, and Vaughn is just right behind it. He's coming up on it. Hey, Vaughn, get an update from you. What do you have for us on Highway 62?
Yeah, I'm at 6 Mile Road and Highway 62. This area of concern is just to my east, Travis. So anybody behind me, here from me. But rain's starting to get heavier. The wind's picking up again as I kind of get into the back edge of this, Travis. I'll keep following back to you.
All right, yeah, you're driving right into a little bit of that circulation feature as far as the next couple miles to the east if you stay with it. Again, really tough driving conditions, and so circulation feature continues to show up just to the east-southeast of Vaughn. So this is coming in on Tahlequah right now. So any place along this leading edge, Qualls, Lake Tenkiller Lake, you guys could have 70-mile-an-hour winds, 80-mile-an-hour winds as we just reported. This continues, and this will be the core track of what's going on with this. The main concern, we'll call it, is here. The whole line is a concern, especially when you have 80-mile-an-hour winds along that leading edge. A lot of damage is going to occur when you get up to 80-mile-an-hour winds. And so we're going to have, it's not trash cans, it's something a lot larger, some of the trees, some of the weaker trees, and there's still some trees that have leaves on them, so that's going to kind of create a resistant force. So that is right now moving up toward the Woodall area. Park Hill about 507, Tahlequah coming up here in just a few moments. We're coming up at 5 o'clock right now, and it's going to be here in about probably 5 to 10 minutes in Tahlequah. So there's some strong damaging winds just on the west side of town. So that is going to continue to track off to the east into Adair County, northern Adair County. Also along this line, let's go north a little bit, and you can see any place right now that's just running from around the Gideon area to Rose, that's where strong damaging winds are located, and then that goes up now over the lake. So if you are over pretty much any place around Grand Lake, you're just going to have to be advised that these winds are excessively strong, and so that's going to cause some wind damage, especially if we're at about 80-mile-per-hour winds. As that was moving through Adair, which is right here, just south, that was part of the winds. And let's take a look at shear, if we could. Yeah, there you go. So this is the areas which we're concerned with, and this gives us a pretty good idea or picture of just a minute or so ago, and you can see how rapidly each time we update this, how that changes. So that's why we want you to be aware of not only the wind, but also some extra damage that could occur along that. Still some strong damaging winds on the north side here, and so this is going to continue as well with 60-mile-an-hour winds, maybe a little stronger, and that's over Ulaga Lake right now. So again, if you're anywhere around Talala, Nowata, extending up to Lenapaw, you still are under a severe thunderstorm warning because that's still very active, and that is kind of a unique look at what's going on with that as it continues to track off to the east and northeast, and that's going to be moving somewhat into southeastern Kansas. We have a little bit of that in Coffeyville, but right now the warnings are primarily staying in Oklahoma and in Craig County. So if you are in these areas and extending off to the east, you're going to have still strong damaging wind potential. Unbelievable amounts of rain are falling too. So this is going to become more of a flood event. I had a guy on Facebook say, Travis, I wish you wouldn't say so much about being negative about all the heavy rains. We need it. Well, we need rain, but we don't need the flood. So just be advised that there is going to be waves of this going on through Monday. And this is going to be a rough run for all of us, whether you're at home or at work or wherever you plan on being. So this is a look at what's happening here. That warning extending off to the east, as we said. Let's go back south for a moment, talk to Vaughn one more time before Alan gives us a roundup of a few things that are happening as well. Vaughn, what do you have for us now that you're getting into it as you're heading toward Tahlequah?
Yeah, I have not seen any power flashes. I am about halfway between Fort Gibson and Tahlequah now, so no power flashes, but the rain, like you said earlier, it's just torrential. Your speeds have to go way down because you cannot see so much water that the wipers cannot keep up with. So I'm continuing down 62. Going to be a Tahlequah moment. Back to you.
All right, thanks, appreciate it.
Hey,
drive careful. Go ahead, Al.
Stephen, pop up 3 real fast. Travis, look at 3. Look at just a little south of Tahlequah.
Yep, it's right there. Yep, and that's what we're looking at right now, and got it sitting here. And so again, just east of Vaughn at this moment of what's going east-southeast and right into Tahlequah. These are strong damaging winds, and there is a circulation feature right in here that's coming up on 82 just south of town near Keys. And so if we can, let's zoom in just a little closer, even if you can get, there you go. So we have some city street, there you can see Keys. And so that gives you a pretty good idea what's coming in right now. So this is probably about a minute old right now. And so Vaughn is really close, and it's going to be hard to see. And notice the update is already in Keys. So this is what is coming in. We really want you to be careful in this area. very, very careful here, because this should be some 70-mile-an-hour winds, maybe 80, and there is rotation right in that area, and we'll have to be watching because Vaughn's not too far from that right this second. Thanks, Al. What do you have for us on the line itself down to the south? I haven't mentioned anything down there, but we don't have a warning at this point. Still some heavy rain.
Yeah, let's take a look just very quickly. We're going to go right back up to Vaughn near Tahlequah. So from just south of Lake Tenkiller, that line goes all the way into Haskell County. It's entering the Wilburton area, so it'll move through Wilburton and Red Oak pretty quickly. Hartshorn, Haleyville, the Twin Cities, they're on 270. McAllister, you've had some bumpy weather, but none of that has been considered severe. Now, you could have had some 50 and 55 mile per hour winds, but it's mostly been that area to the north that's been the concern with the higher end wind speeds between 60, 70, even 80 miles an hour. So yeah, we're watching that. We're still concerned as the line will continue to push to the east and southeast, but the dynamics have been focused closer in to that Boeing Echo area in that bookend vortice on the very top side that goes basically from about Craig County southward through the Cherokee County area. If you're watching in the Tulsa metro, it's just rain right now. The damaging wind threat is well to the east of us. Some power outages that have started to show up this morning. And those numbers are probably going to come up a little bit. As you know, you heard Bob talking about the power flashes in the metro. And yes,
hang on.
Bob's got something for us here. Bob, go ahead, Bob. Just tell us what you're saying there.
Yeah, I'm coming into the lake. I'm on the east side of Wagner. Power's out here, so we've had strong winds. There's a lot of stuff in the roads you can see, trash and that's been blown around. So we had strong wind come across Highway 51 here, right in the area of Pelican Point, Taylor's Ferry.
All right. Yeah, that tells the story pretty much. So that whole line again, we're going to probably find a lot of places that have had some roof damage and things like that. You can see some of the debris on the roadways from that. So, all right, thanks, Bob. Let's go back down and see what's going on down into the areas right around Tahlequah, Keys area, and see what's happening there. Vaughn's getting close to that leading edge, but that's coming in on the south sides of Tahlequah right now, and so it's coming right on through the city. And then you have Keys to Tahlequah. This is an area of concern. So this is a circulation feature within just within this whole line of thunderstorms. So if you are in this area, we really want you to take cover. Keys, it's already in on you at this moment. And then as this continues to track to the east, if you're in the rural areas toward the Welling area and Carter's Landing, we do want you to make sure that you are in a safe place, because this is going to be some really turbulent winds. We expect winds 70, 80 miles an hour in here, and not just one blast going one way, potentially could be more than that. So again, if you're right here along Highway 82, Keys, you should be in cover at this particular moment just to be on the safe side for this particular part of the storm moving to the east-northeast. Stephen, did you have something?
No, just another wind gust, 67 mile an hour wind gust east of Adair. That's where we had that 80 mile an hour gust not too long ago, but another 67 mile an hour wind gust report from Mays County Emergency Management.
So much wind. Hey, Vaughn, can you give us an update? Where are you right now? Are you coming in on the southwest side of Tahlequah?
Yes, just now. I'm only about 3 miles from that junction that goes south to Keys. And I'm getting about 60 mile an hour wind. It looks like they're kind of out of the southwest. Extremely heavy rainfall now. And I'm not really seeing a lot of power out yet that I can tell. I'll be into proper Tahlequah proper here. So I'll give you another update next week.
Hey, thanks, appreciate it. And so that's in Tahlequah right now, moving on the east side of Tahlequah. And still, the concern is south, really Park Hill to Keys right this second, and further east. So if you are in these areas, we'll be heading on over in Adair County here shortly toward Titanic. So if you are in this area, be aware. All the way down, though, I mean, this is going to be some strong damaging winds at Pettit Bay. And so any place right through Lake Tenkiller right now, again, very strong winds. Stay away from any of those places where trees could fall on you or whatever. But this is tightened up again back into the areas. Now we're just to the south of Tahlequah, and that now is to the east-northeast of Keys. So this is probably the main issue that's the most intense. This whole line is intense. So any place along that leading edge, you're going to get buffeted by strong, damaging winds. And then on top of that, again, tighter circulation indicates higher probability of more damage in there. Do you have a track for us there, Mr. Allen?
I'm going to show you actually before we do a track, take it on 3. This is what's happening on that bookend top side there.
Yeah.
See all those winds? 60, 67, 70 mile per hour winds. That's on the top side of where all of that big line of thunderstorm activity on the back side of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can see what appears to be the leading edge is going to be right in through here. There's still very strong, potentially damaging winds on that back side. That's why we keep getting those reports across portions of southern Craig County, the Adair, the Pryor, the Spavinaw vicinity. So even in that area, you still got to buckle down, even though the reflectivity data is suggesting that, you know, this is where that big line of storm activity is continuing to track. It's really that entire line that goes all the way, kind of goes back to near the northeastern Rogers County area. So even north and east of Claremore, where it just kind of looks like you're just kind of in the rain. There's still potential here for 60, 65, maybe 70 mile per hour wind gusts. So it's very, very windy weather. Now, we'll track that entire line here as best as we can because it is such a large line. But we'll take it east, and I think the forward momentum has slowed down a little bit, but we'll still keep it at about 60 miles an hour. You can see all of those communities, because we're tracking such a large line, we're just going to show you where some of those are at right now. I mean, Tenkiller basically in Twin Oaks, and then we'll expand it a little longer. So we're at 510. So Grove and Chewy and the Stillwell area, 520, 524. Fairland, which had a tornado a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Some big winds could be coming through the Ottawa County area again, 60, 70 mile per hour winds there. So Fairland would be at about 526. Miami would be very close to that. And then, Travis, this is going to keep on going. It'll go into the Arkansas area pretty fast here. So if you're watching around Chewy and Jay and Siloam and West Siloam Springs, you're 30, 40 minutes away from that thing getting to your area. So again, treat it like it's going to cause some wind damage issues. It may not be all along that line, but it is definitely the potential for that. That's why that severe thunderstorm warning polygon is still underway.
Yep, and we still have about another 45 minutes for that. Here's some winds estimate. Now, this is a little bit away from the radar, but it doesn't matter. Once you get away from the radar, we have to elevate up because of the Earth curvature. But these are still winds near the surface, and so anything here, and Stephen's pointing this out, is just how intense these winds are, just near surface or above it. So again, you guys up to the north are in just as tough a shape as anybody that's to the south. And as you're south of I-40, it's not quite as important as it is to the north of I-40 right now, because this is where more of the dynamics are at play and more of the issues are at play. So there's rain, there's lightning, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but mainly wind and blinding rain happening with this as this continues to accelerate and move to the north and to the east. We're still along the leading edge, still is very salty in terms of a very dense, and the reflectivity values are very high, which means it's very heavy rainfall. I mean, it's just so hard to be able to see almost anything. Vaughn's in the middle of it right now. Let's go back to Vaughn and get an update from him in Tahlequah. Vaughn, anything for you from there?
Okay, I'm coming into Tahlequah right now, getting ready to hit the bypass. I'm pretty sure I saw a power flash just a few seconds ago. It'd be off to the east, kind of the east-northeast. So there's quite definitely some heavy, strong wind on the east side of Tahlequah right now. So I'm headed that way. I'll be there in a moment. Back to you.
All right, thanks, appreciate it. So, and where he's talking continues to be the concern of what continues to be the issue, and that is along this leading edge. We're looking now east-southeast of Tahlequah, now around the Welling area. That's moving over right on almost to the county line near the Titanic area and south of Proctor. So this will be continuing, and so we're going to be seeing that. And again, you can just kind of make it out yourself at home what's going on here and how that is moving to the east-northeast. And so it's rapidly moving, so that's going to continue. It's already through Tahlequah, and with Vaughn's reports, hopefully not too much of Tahlequah will be affected by that. But here's the latest look on the storm track of what's going on with some of the communities. Wahilo, trying to get that. My friend lives there, and he always says I pronounce it wrong. But anyway, it is going to continue to move to the east in this area. And if you are here, this is part of the line that we're still concerned with that could cause some damage, excessive damage, 70, 80 mile an hour winds. So the whole line, still a line of strong to severe thunderstorms. Could we have some, could you show us shear for a second and just see what the shear, okay, so it's moderate in this area, still showing up. And that's out of INX.
Yeah.
Okay. Try SRX just for a minute on the south side, if you would. So it's a little bit less.
That's SRX. Yeah.
Okay, good. So you can see a stronger line a little bit continues to the south. So again, if you're on the south side, there are some strong damaging winds that go right on down to just east of IM. So that's near Marble City. So that's the whole line, so much wind. Hopefully we're away from tornado threats, but unfortunately still potential for a lot of power and power outages. Alan?
Yeah, that severe thunderstorm warning goes until 5:30. You see Stephen's got that shear product lined up there. Punch up 3 real fast will show you where some of those winds are located. And again, these go all the way back behind that line. So we could have still some damaging winds across part of Craig County, the Adair vicinity, Spavinaw, Pryor, Rose. We're watching pretty carefully now. It looks like some strong winds are moving into the J area. So Grand Lake, Monkey Island areas to the south, right along 127, Highway 20, back and forth to J, and then to the Colcorda area and Little Kansas. Some pretty stout looking winds there that will track all the way back down to near Chewy on 10. 10 is a beautiful road to drive, but not right now. No. Because you've got, not only do you have the wind, but you've got heavy rainfall, and that is something that Travis had mentioned a couple of minutes ago. And this is a couple of rounds that have been kind of pushing through here, so you want to remain aware of those low water crossing areas. They're going to fill up pretty fast. If there's any saving grace with this, it is moving really fast. Yeah. So it continues to push off to the east at about 50 miles an hour. So that leading edge is past Tahlequah, but still could have some pretty beefy winds in the Tahlequah area. Vaughn is there. I know Travis will check with him in just a second. And then for our friends down around the Lake 10 Killer area, to as far south as Marble City, and then over to the community of Stillwell, soon to be Westville, soon to be Siloam Springs, soon to be Fayetteville, soon to be Tontown, Bentonville, some of those areas. This is going to keep on going in that region. Yeah,
we just got a report from when that line went through Shakota of 80-mile-an-hour winds. So that south end is just kind of salty right down in there as well. So that, if you're in Sequoia County, that is still pretty beefy. Now, it doesn't look as intense by any stretch of the imagination down around Pittsburgh County and Latimer County, but that does not mean a whole lot because you can still get strong damaging winds out of that. Additional rain and thunderstorms, I say additional, kind of the leftovers, the backside of it. This is a huge thunderstorm complex, by the way. So it's a big, it's a huge system, and so it has its own development. You can see how far south that extends. And there's going to be additional development that's back to the west that's going to cause problems. But this is part of it, and this is kind of the bulging area of it, and that's why you see that arcing area, and that's why we continue to have to hammer on this, because that's where most of the dynamics and winds are causing the problems associated with that. Getting general rains up north, but our big concern right now continues to be what's going on around the area, and especially just around the Tahlequah area and down into the extreme eastern parts of our viewing area. Vaughn, while you're on the east side of town, anything else to add to what you've seen in Tahlequah?
No, everything in Tahlequah looks pretty good. I think the majority of the high winds probably were to the south and to the southeast of Tahlequah. Enormous amount of water right now flowing down the streets of Tahlequah. So if you're driving, definitely take it easy. But we're going to keep headed east and kind of keep on the backside of this. Thank you.
All right. Hey, thanks, Vaughn. Greatly appreciate it. Bob's a little bit further back to the north and west. Hey, Bob, quick update from you, from your location. What do you have for us?
Hey, Travis, I just came through Hulbert. I'm a little bit behind catching this line because of the speed. Right now, I'm not seeing any damage per se in the Hulbert area. Power was on. Don't see any limbs down or anything like that. Back to you, Travis.
All right. Hey, thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. And is he still in the Tulsa area? Do we know John? Calling John. Are you there, Mr. Durkee?
I am here, but I'm in Pryor.
Okay. All right.
And I have seen some, I'm on Highway 69 coming into Pryor. Between Choteau and Pryor, I have seen some tree limbs down, some pretty good sized limbs, still getting a lot of very heavy rain and a lot of lightning in this area right now, Travis. And this storm, you all have been talking about how fast it's moving. I was driving 65 miles an hour, which is about as fast as you want to go on a wet road, and I could not keep up with this. It is really trucking.
That it is, yeah. And as Alan said, it'll be out of here fast. But I appreciate it, guys. And again, from everybody that is wondering what has happened. Again, we had the tornado warning, woke up a lot of people. If you're just getting up, and kind of we're like, you have to get up Sunday morning here. A lot of things happening, but this line of storms continues to track off to the east. Hey, Stephen, do you have an update on the number of power outages now? Is there any changes that have come up with that?
Yeah, let me switch you over here. You can take a look at some of those numbers here, and those usually update every 10 or 15 minutes, sometimes more frequently. So I would expect that number in Tulsa County may end up coming up, but that's going by a county by county basis. So that's it kind of rounding numbers there a little bit, but 8,000 outages, number of customers without power showing up in the Tulsa County area, about 4,000 in the Creek County area, and about 500 in Osage County. But you can see a large bulk of them in the Tulsa County area. But I think into Rogers and Mays and Wagner County, we're going to start seeing more of those popping back on here as we get the line further to the east, and there's more assessment of the damaging winds that we've had move through. Okay,
and we're getting a lot of reports, coming in of 60, 70, and some of those 80-mile-an-hour winds that have continued to push across the area. And you can see that the worst of the line of the storms right now is just getting over closer to the Arkansas state line. Not as intense as it was while it was coming on through, but it is still very impressive in terms of just how potent this storm is. We were expecting more of the energy to be farther to the west. In fact, a lot of the computer models and even the Storm Prediction Center was pretty much more focused on south central, southwestern Oklahoma. And seeing this continue to move to the east gives us a reason to be concerned for the next 36 to 48 hours until this storm system gets out of here as we get on into Monday night, because we have several of these waves we're going to have to go through, and the dynamics associated with it are impressive, needless to say. Vaughn is well east and heading east on 62. You can still see there's that area, that kink, so to speak, an S-curve into this, and so that's just near Eldon, I think. And so that's just east of Tahlequah at this point. And so with that, there's still a couple of areas that are of concern, and Vaughn's behind that. He's going to get into an area here where the roads are going to be a little bit tougher. Vaughn, before we lose you to some of the hills and valleys of Cherokee County, can you give me one more update around as you're coming into Briggs? Oh, mic on. Put you.
Well, now, so did not see any kind of power out. And looking to my east, I'm not seeing any kind of power flashes. That circulation is probably, 8-10 miles to my east. So I should be able to see something, but I haven't seen anything yet, but I'm going to keep following back to you.
All right. I appreciate it. And we did have, as it was coming into Tahlequah, some 70-mile-an-hour winds from a train spotter. And so that gives us a pretty good idea that those winds have not changed a whole lot as it's moved from the south side. But again, as Vaughn mentioned, Tahlequah not doing too bad, so that's good news. But this is just still a very, very important thing to focus on. So this is around the Titanic area, head over toward Christie, and then Going Snake, and then Chance, and you can kind of see just north of Stillwell. So this is going to continue to track east-northeast. And so anytime we see that, that is still big concern about what could be happening right in there. So we want you to be aware, and you can kind of see what's happening here with the storm track for the whole line with winds of 70 miles an hour, possibly 80 at times, damaging probably some trees. Trees could be knocked down, power lines. That's still a very real possibility for some of these areas. So we do want you to continue to monitor what's going on. New severe thunderstorm warning now is being placed, and so that severe thunderstorm warning will be taking it all the way into Arkansas. So this has been a very rapid moving storm, and you can see where Vaughn is located. You can see where this pivoting point is. And Alan, what do you have for us?
We'll take that track of just really from about Kansas to Chewy South. We have to kind of take this in chunks because it's such a large chunk of real estate here, but basically around the Cherokee County area southward from Chewy South all the way back down to Greasy, that line can easily produce 70-mile-per-hour wind gust. So it's moving east now, still at about 60 miles an hour. So severe thunderstorm warning, as you mentioned, will be extended into Arkansas. The short-term track, Zion 524, Stillwell is pretty close to the next 2 to 3 minutes, and basically it's already there, and it continue to track to the east. Westville at 5:30, so you got a couple of minutes here to still take some precautions for those winds. They'll be coming from the west, some 70-mile-per-hour winds there. Prairie Grove at 5:43. Prairie Grove had a tornado a couple of days ago as well. So basically all along that Oklahoma-Arkansas state line area, that is moving really, really fast. It has the potential for some 70-mile-per-hour damaging winds, and it's been producing 70-mile-per-hour winds, in some spots even higher through its life cycle. That severe thunderstorm warning, the new one, is going to continue on for a little longer, but the one part to the north, which would be near Adair and Veneta in the Miami, the Ottawa County area, is set to expire in a couple of minutes at about 5:30. Folks in southern Kansas, you're getting lots and lots of rain. You have some flood warnings now that have been issued for some of our southern Kansas counties. We'll go over that in just a second here. Just remain aware, stay away from those low water crossing areas. They're filling up pretty fast, but still a concern is going to be that area right along the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line area. In this pattern, we watch for those little bows, those little kinks, to see if we see maybe something trying to wrap up. And Vaughn has been pretty close to that area there. He's just a couple of miles to the west of that area that may be trying to do that little wrap-up dance again. That's been doing it off and on. So we'll continue to watch that area pretty carefully, but really all along that line could cause some wind damage for folks from Westville to Stillwell, right on the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line area. It's moving in fast.
All right, and we are talking again about a lot of, Stephen, were you updating power outage? Yes. Looks like those numbers went up. We'll have you give that to us in a minute. But these thunderstorms continue to, as they move to the east, still getting most of the reports at about 60 miles an hour, and then embedded in that is 70-mile-an-hour winds. So we're going to take this right on up to the state line, and then we'll start just doing cut-ins after that. So make sure that you have it. So what do you have for us? What happened there with the power outages, Stephen? I'm
just trying to get the ranged update here because it's giving you the change the numbers here because the number has jumped up in Tulsa County. It's about 14,000, but I'll get you that graphic in just a second.
All right. Thought that I saw that popping up there. And so along this leading edge again, severe thunderstorms. And Al, I don't know if is this links 4? It is. Right? Or 3. What do you got? This is there. That's
there
what
it is. Yep.
Okay. Hey, if we could on links 4, if you would give us find the rainfall, how much rainfall has fallen with this, and while you're doing that, I'm going to look at. You're kind of seeing as that line has moved off to the east. There's still trailing areas of rain, but the backside of this system now is pushing out of pretty much Osage County, but if you're up to the north, there's still a lot of lightning strikes occasionally in these areas. It doesn't show a ton of lightning, but I want to just point out the amount of rainfall that we're seeing. Again, this is significant amounts of rain, and so we've picked up some rain in the last 24 hours in some of these areas. I mean, check this out. Alan, you can probably take through it since you got controls there for a second.
Well, those really dark areas, those strips of rain, some of those are supercell storms that are embedded within all this, so between 4 to 5 inches. Around the Cushing area, about 2 inches, and then in between Bartlesville and Tulsa, between 2. And again, these are radar estimates. Sometimes the algorithm might be just a little on the high side, but it's, again, we had those showers and storms that moved in late last night, and then the thunderstorms that have been occurring early on this morning. So we are looking at some pretty healthy rainfall totals that are underway here. And some of those heavy rains have moved across northern Osage County earlier into part of southern Kansas. So that is where we do have the potential for some flooding issues there, because we have some flood warnings that are going to be issued in some of those areas. I believe that would be flood advisories, aerial flood warnings, some flash flood warning issues. So it's going to be in the southern Kansas area. It's not popping up on the screen for some reason.
Okay.
But we do have some of those underway across southern Kansas.
Wow. That is an unbelievable amount of water, and we have several waves of rain yet to go through. Stephen will have that in the forecast here for this morning, for our 6 in the morning newscast will be coming up in a while. And then as this line continues to move east, we're going to look at Westville and get a little closer inspection on what's going on right in this zone, because we do think that it's still strong, anything along this line. And as we mentioned, the warnings now are moving over into Arkansas, and so most of our problem is not going to be quite as intense or severe. But we do want you just to be advised that there's still an area just from around Westville, and there's still this area, and it's a pivot point, and so that means there's circulation associated with that. So it continues to move to the east, and so that's kind of going to be embedded in the rain and the storms. There's a little bit of rain in advance of it, but Vaughn is now probably in an area which is going to be hard to see. But this pivot area is just right around Westville, and if we can zoom in close, there we go, and Come in a little bit closer to get city streets, if you would, right there. So as we look at it, so it's just literally just west, you're right on Christie at this time. So if you're with us over there, just please make sure that you're in a safer place because this whole area from Christie north, from Going Snake and then extending back down to the south. And we will say from East 771 Road, all the way down there. So any place along this leading edge, we want you to be advised. And then there's going to be power, probably issues potentially as this bulges out 60, 70 mile an hour winds right in there. So that's why we want you to be very careful of what's going on in these locations. So all these are strong winds, damaging winds that could be associated with not only power outages, but also with maybe a tree falling or just kind of getting in trouble if you're trying to take off this morning and get going. So weird because with daylight saving time over, I guess we're at 5:28 officially, so it's kind of a change. Don't forget, you have to fall back, as we always say. So this is the latest look on what's happening there. And let's see if is Vaughn, was he able to talk? Do you know, was he?
He can. He's going to have to kind of start heading back to the west.
Okay.
But you can start.
Vaughn, just a quick update from you. Anything else while you were over there near Tahlequah, east of Tahlequah?
Yeah, things in Tahlequah are definitely calming down. East of Tahlequah, it's still. I had to turn around, Travis. At that movement at 60 or 70 miles an hour, there was no way I could catch it. So we're headed back to Tahlequah and look for some damage, if there is any on the south side. Back to you.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it. Bob's not too far away from you, and we'll split you guys out or have Stephen talk to you guys here in just a second. That's a line of storms, though, as they have continued to move to the east. And so that's what we're seeing at this particular moment is the intense winds now are almost all the way through. And just in Adair County, you can see how Tahlequah, you can see Bob's on the south side of town right now. So, Vaughn, I'll have you and Bob talking here in a little bit. Sequoia's down south on the storms that are further to the south. You can see where he is located. Just general rain right now around the Tulsa area with an occasional flash of lightning, as we said, just enough to make sure to keep everybody awake a little bit longer. John is moving east. Hey, John, real quick update from you, if you would, one more time, because we'll probably pull you back as well since those storms continue to move so rapidly to the east. What do you have?
I'm on Highway 20 right now between Pryor and Claremore, and I'm still getting some pretty heavy rain at times. The wind's not much of a factor right now, Travis. Back to you.
All right. Are you getting very much in the way of lightning and going on or not?
The lightning intensity has gone down quite a bit. Back when I was at Shoto, it was pretty intense. Not so much now. It seems to be a more gentle rain right now. All
right. Yeah, let's hope that continues to be the case. So that's the line of storms that are moving on out right now. And so it's 5:30 in the morning here. We'll continue for about another 5 to 10 minutes to maybe 15. We might have to go about another 15. We'll get it into far eastern Oklahoma. Al, I see that you've got the flood.
Yeah, tornado watch. I've taken off
all. Oh, that's a tornado watch.
I took all the information off except for the shear so we can see it.
Okay.
Just to load up the tornado watch very quickly. The counties that are still highlighted in green will technically be still under a tornado watch for the next couple of hours until 9 o'clock. Now, we've not had anything severe that has happened in the Pittsburgh County, Latimer-LaFleur County vicinity, but at least at this point, Pittsburgh and Haskell County technically is included in the tornado watch. That's a watch. And then the watch now is confined right along the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line here. So it does not include the Tulsa County vicinity any longer. This particular watch, as you mentioned, we're going to have several waves of instability that will be approaching northern and eastern Oklahoma in the next couple of days. So we may do some of this again off and on. And by the way, this is look at that radar track, Travis. That's a 30-minute track. I mean, it's moving pretty fast. So it's moved out of Cherokee County, and it's almost now to the Arkansas state line, from Tahlequah to the Arkansas state line in 30 minutes. You can get a ticket for that if you drive.
Yeah, I think you would, and then some. That is amazing how fast we're talking about. Again, most of the area is starting to calm down. If you were with us earlier, we did have tornado issues around the Tulsa area with a tornado warning, but we had a lot of wind damage. We're getting just some minor reports of damage. We haven't received a whole lot of damage reports from the tornado warnings that were in northeastern Creek County. We still have a strong circulation feature showing up. Alan zoomed in on that right now from around and just near Westville. So this is still very, very concerning. And if you're in this area, you still please be careful. Barron, extending up to Chance, and then going on over to Westville, Cincinnati. I remember having a tornado, I think, New Year's Day.
They had a tornado New Year's morning, way back in the day. Unfortunately, there were some fatalities there years ago. Yeah.
And so this is a very strong indication. This is close to, do we have some shear that we might be able to look at? So when this becomes that kinked, there's even a better indication that we could have something going on here. So again, if you're around Westville, eastern Adair County, let's just say from Watts to Westville to, well, Barron right now, you already been hit, but east of Barron to Westville to Watts. Please take precautions still, because we don't trust this at all. We've had too many issues with this. This could be a spin up that could happen with a tornado. And even if there isn't, there's going to be strong wind damage potential with 70-mile-an-hour winds along that leading edge. So those are the concerns. And Stephen, did you get the power outage? I don't even remember coming back to you. What do you have for us there?
There you go. If you can see those numbers up there on the screen. There you go. So yeah, as I expected, the numbers are way up there.
Wow.
For the Tulsa County area, 28,000 customers now without power. And again, not surprising with the amount of power flashes that our trackers saw. Bob and John in particular were reporting numerous power flashes from as that storm ramped up and had that rotation now near Riverside Airport and through 31st and Sheridan, 41st and Sheridan, quite a few of those areas that were reporting power flashes for several minutes. Whether it was a brief tornadic spin-up or it was the damaging straight-line winds that were both on the leading edge and behind the leading edge. Damaging winds, however you want to slice it. And so Tulsa County, 28,000 customers with that power, and likely will still keep growing, but Creek County, 4,000. Wagner County, about 2,000. Rogers County, about 1,500. Muskogee County shows 600. That number will likely climb as well. So there will be some cleanup to be done this morning with the power crews that are no doubt already out and working on this, because they hopped to it really quickly. So those numbers have gone up pretty significantly.
All right. Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate that. We continue to monitor what's going on right along that leading edge to the east. Alan, that's still a little concerning over by Westville for a little bit. What else you have?
Yeah, that's basically the area of most concern right now would be near Westville, Siloam Springs, back down to the south. Now remember, that still has the potential to produce some 70-mile-per-hour winds right on that leading edge. Now that's going to move into Arkansas pretty fast, but there still can be that little leading edge spin up that we typically like to see because of the low-level wind shear, or we don't like to see because of the low-level wind shear, pardon me. So that's still something that we'll watch. We don't see any major signals at this point, but again, in this type of environment, it can be in between spins or volume scans on the radar that these things will show up pretty fast, but they are moving very, very fast. So this is going to be basically, I think it's probably in Arkansas right now. It's on the state line already from Siloam Springs back down to the west of Stillwell. And at least at this point, that heavy rainfall is moving fast. This is kind of the really first batch of heavy rain in that area. Even though the low water crossing areas are going to fill up fast, that will drop down quite a bit. But then you're going to have a lot more later this afternoon, tonight, and then several rounds coming up on Monday. So the polygon now is really small for Oklahoma. It still considers part of the Ottawa County vicinity, and then it goes back down into Arkansas. It just is right on the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line area. You can still may have those 70, 75 mile per hour wind gusts. And you mentioned Cincinnati, Arkansas. That was the tornado warning. I said it was New Year's Day. It was a New Year's Eve morning on like 2011. I was working that one. Unfortunately, did cause a lot of problems there. Tulsa, we're doing fine here. There's still some lightning and thunder, but that's not severe. It's going to move out. We'll get a break at midday. We'll have more coming up probably this afternoon and especially tonight with more showers and storms.
All right. And Stephen?
Just showing you the rainfall. Because again, obviously the wind has been the story here the last couple of hours and the damage it's caused. But, oh yeah, by the way, a lot of water has fallen and there's a lot more still to come. Now again, we needed every drop of this, but Travis mentioned this earlier, we just don't need it all at once, and that's what's happening. So we've had a swath of 2 to 4 inches of rain, basically from I-44 to the west. You folks in southeastern Oklahoma, now you're just now getting it as the squall line moves through. I know I had some folks in southeastern Oklahoma last night asking, where's the rain? We haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah.
Well, here you're getting the first batch right now. You can kind of tell the difference between, say, Poto, where the rain's just now starting, to what we've had from Tulsa to the north and west. But this just illustrates, because as you guys mentioned, there's multiple more rounds to come. You know, if we get another, say, 2 to 4 inches of rain on top of what we've already just picked up in the last 24 hours, we're going to start having some, you know, we're going to go from drought to flood in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, and thanks, Stephen, for that. So we're going to wrap it up here, and so we'll tell our production team we're going to do that as well. We'll take one last look over at Westville and just look at the county line area and our state line area. So this is a line of showers and storms coming through. We still have an area, and it doesn't show up as much, but it's still right near the Westville area. So we do think that this is still some winds that could be 70 miles an hour and some turbulent area. So that moves up and comes up across the Cincinnati area and then moves on up into Arkansas. This is the Arkansas state line, by the way. So this is the only thing that we're going to keep an eye on, but at this point, it's already in your area and through it, so we'd like you to be safe there. Otherwise, the rest of this is going to be rain that's going to be ending coming up. We're going to cut in as necessary. We'll be back in a little bit with an update, or Stephen will here. And don't forget, he'll have the complete roundup. That's coming up at 7 o'clock. Here in just a little bit. So we are now, again, I have to look at my watch just because my daylight saving time watch is doing different. But anyway, 5:38 is the current time, and at 7 o'clock we'll have an update and we'll know what's happened also down around the Norman area and Oklahoma City, Tinker Air Force Base, the flooding and the potential flooding conditions that are expected to be coming up. So it's amazing, you guys, to think that we've been in a drought for like 2-3 months, and then now all of a sudden in one weekend it's going to be a flood situation. All right, thanks for joining us, and we will have more information. Keep it here, as we say. We'll keep you advised.